Have you ever been to a restaurant and ordered a big, juicy steak, only to have it served to you cold, dried out, and overcooked? The steak is the centerpiece of the meal. It has to be right. If the steak isn't great, you don't have a great meal. Here at the Beef Information Center, we have created a guide to help you cook a perfect steak every time. And a great steak is an important part of a restaurant's menu and reputation. Creating a great steak can be broken down into 3 key components: quality, cooking, and presentation. Quality is the important base for the entire procedure. If you don't have a quality steak that has been properly purchased, stored, and handled, you will never be able to make it better with cooking and presentation. Receiving is an important first step. When receiving steaks, here is a checklist of things to look for. Locate production table. It is usually found on the end of the package. Double check it against your invoice. Check the grade, age, and weight before you sign the invoice. When receiving fresh steaks, check to see that none of the seals have been blown or damaged in any way. Then put the steak into the back bottom corner of the cooler. This is the coldest area of your cooler, best suited for storing beef. Never accept any steak boxes that have been damaged or are not up to the specifications you ordered. If receiving frozen steaks, make sure that it has been completely frozen. If there's any give, it hasn't been frozen correctly or it has partially defrosted in transit. Do not accept this. Ensure that you write the date on the box when you receive the product. This is important as a steak can only be frozen for a limited time, and it ensures proper rotation so that the first in is the first out. To defrost frozen steaks, keep the steak in the cryovac package in an insert tray with a lid. The container must be labeled with a date when you place it in the cooler. Be sure that it remains in the cooler for at least 24 hours, but once it has been defrosted, the steak should be used in 5 days. A daily prep sheet is a good tool to help manage your steak inventory. If you are using frozen steaks, remember it takes 24 hours to thaw a steak. Once the steaks are thawed, or when preparing fresh steaks for the line, remove them from the cryovac package and store the steaks back inside a new, clean, covered insert with a drip tray. This lets the blood drip off the steak onto a separate surface, keeping the steak safe from contamination. The steaks are now ready for immediate cooking. Again, each insert must be labeled with the date that the cryovac package was opened. Steaks will have a 2-day shelf life once the cryovac package is open, for a total maximum of 5 days once defrosted. If you need to thaw extra steaks in a hurry, we recommend that you put the frozen steak in cold running water. It will defrost quickly and safely. Never use a microwave, and never use heat or hot water to defrost a steak. Cooking a steak properly will always provide a certain challenge to the chef. Doneness is the key factor. What one guest believes is a medium cooked steak, another will think is medium rare. It is a good idea for the server to clarify doneness with the guest, if possible. Although your steak should be consistently proportioned, keep in mind these 3 rules of thumb when selecting a steak for cooking. Thickest pieces can be reserved for rare, thinnest pieces can be reserved for well done. New York end cuts, often called tissue ends, are also suited for well done. In addition to the steak, being familiar with the broiler is a very important part of the cooking preparation. Knowing your broiler will help make cooking a consistently great steak easier. Although char broilers are designed to give off an even heat displacement, the kitchen ventilation system and airflow may cause the back of the broiler to get a little hotter. Whether your broiler is set flat or at an angle, the hotter zones will generally be towards the back of the grill. By locating the hot zones, you will be able to cook steaks that were requested medium to well done faster than those done rare to medium rare. So if a bill comes in with 2 steaks, one rare and one well done, and you can use the hotter zone for the well done steak, The cook time for both steaks will be very close to the same time, and one meal will not have to wait for the other. Remember, your grill should be hot. The minimum temperature for grilling is between 430 and 550 degrees Fahrenheit, or between 220 and 280 degrees Celsius. Always start with a clean broiler. Take a brush and scrub off all of the char that has been left on the grill. Prepping the grill or the steak with a little oil prevents sticking. You can brush the oil directly onto the grill or lightly brush the steak itself. Your ability to determine the doneness of a steak is an art form that you will perfect as your experience increases. It has as much to do with the visual and timing as it does feel. You should use all three indicators when determining the correct doneness of a steak. Remember that a guest will use the color to judge the doneness of their steak. Getting the steak done right is key to a guest's satisfaction. You can check the different colors on a beef information poster. You'll see that the blue rare steak is seared on the outside but completely red throughout. A rare steak is seared on the outside and only 75% red through the center. A medium rare steak is seared with 50% red through the center. A medium is seared with 25% red. A medium well has a slight hint of pink, and a well-done steak will be 100% brown. But remember, you should never cut open a steak to check its doneness. You should be able to tell by using the visual and feel tests. To understand the feel of a properly cooked steak, open your right hand wide, then put your index finger to the thumb to create an OK sign. Now, with your left index finger, press the muscle just below the thumb on your palm. That is the feel of a rare steak. Now change the index finger to the middle finger and press again. That is the feel of a medium rare steak. The ring finger indicates a medium well steak, and the pinky, a well done steak. If you know what you are looking for, you can watch the steak as it cooks and know its doneness. This is the visual test. Once you have turned the steaks, you can start looking closely at the steak. A rare steak will be ready before any of the juices appear, and a medium rare steak will be ready just as the juices start to appear. When you see small amounts of juices pooling in the steak, it has been cooked medium. As the juices stop pooling, the steak has been cooked medium well, and as the juices start to cook, the steak has been cooked well done. Remember that a steak will continue cooking once removed from the grill, so work the extra time into your doneness checks. Once you have found the grill's hot spots, you are ready to place the steaks on the broiler, remembering these 7 important steps. 1. Make sure the surface of the steak is dry. If not, pat the steak dry with a clean, lint-free paper towel, and if you haven't oiled the grill, brush the steak with oil. 2. Place the fat cap up and to the back to begin at a 45-degree angle to the broiler grid. 3. Flip the steak after approximately halfway cooked. And 4. Turn the steak 90 degrees to achieve the diamond markings. This will be face down on the broiler. 5. After 90 seconds, feel the texture of the steak with the tongs. Remember the test with your hands? 6. Depending on doneness, further cooking may be required. Flip the steak for a final time for cooking to medium well. Look for the juices on the steak to help you determine the doneness. And 7. When correct doneness is reached, the steak is removed from the grill. Let's look at the timing again. That's 180 seconds, fat cap to the back. Another 90 seconds on the flip. Another 90 seconds for a quarter turn. Another 90 seconds on the second turn, depending on doneness, if necessary. Altogether, that makes 6 minutes to cook a 3/4 inch steak near medium, and 7.5 minutes to cook a 3/4 inch steak medium well to well done. Remember that all steaks are not the same thickness or density, so timing will differ. The best ways to tell a steak's doneness is through the visual and feel techniques. As you are cooking, let's look at some basic instructions to follow. These tips will help ensure you have cooked a great steak no matter what the doneness level. Make sure the steak is dry. It may be necessary to dry the steak with a clean, lint-free paper towel. Seasoning should not be done prior to cooking as it draws the moisture from the steak. Never press on the steak to speed up cooking. This will cause the moisture to run out of the steak instead of keeping it juicy. The less you handle the steak, the more moisture it retains. The best results for juiciness and tenderness will be from a steak that is cooked no more than medium. Be sure to let the steak relax for a few moments on either the plate or on the side of the grill. This allows the juices to work back into the meat tissue, allowing the steak to be more tender as well as juicier. Try to make sure that you cook a steak to the doneness specified by the guest, but if in doubt, undercook. That way a steak can be further done on request and you have no waste. Okay, so you have the steak cooked to perfection, but don't forget that the presentation adds to the overall effect of the meal. We suggest presenting the steak with the best grid pattern face up and to place the fat cap away from your guest. Adding contrasting colors such as potatoes and vegetables complement the steak and the meal. When presenting the steak, servers should remain close by and check back with the guest to ensure they are satisfied and happy with the doneness of the steak. It is better to catch any problems right away so they can be fixed. When you follow these guidelines, you will be able to make a great steak every time. And remember, a great steak is the start of a great meal.